Good day, my friends. My name is Tracy Repchuk, and I'm the host of Reach Millions TV, an entrepreneurial lifestyle and learning channel, where I will educate and introduce you to some of the greatest powerhouses in their fields. Now, as an entrepreneur for over 37 years, I've had the good fortune to appear in Forbes over 27 times, speak in 39 countries, appeared on NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, won awards from the Senate, the Assembly, the White House, and President Obama, written 9 #1 international bestsellers, and from that journey, I have reached millions with my message. So I wanted to make sure you knew how to do this too, with specialized trainings and by introducing you to the people that can help you find more leads, make more sales, and reach millions with your message. You can find out more about me at tracyrepchuk.com and reachmillionsacademy.com. Right, welcome everybody. Tracy Repchuk here. So excited to continue this journey of setting and getting your goals. As you know, we have been going through the various phases, and today we are on the 4 quadrants of vision. So we're starting to actually get to the fun part of it all. Okay, so if you know the journey we have taken, the 3 steps to success, that began all the planning stages. So that is kind of where a lot of the work resides. Then we moved into the next one, which was staying profitable. That's now about working with the numbers, right? You've got this plan of making a certain amount of money, let's say, and then now you have to apply what are you going to do to make that happen? So then we moved on to the forgotten focus, which was building up your cash calendar, making sure that when you start your month, we're right at the beginning of a month right now, you should be going through your calendar and saying, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to, spend an hour on social media. I'm going to do a Facebook Live, do whatever it is that's going to get you in front of people so that you can broadcast the message of your business or be connected, whichever you are promoting at this time. Then we moved into the powerful 3 M's, kind of media, marketing, and message, and how to stack and layer those and kind of, if something's not happening, it means one of those is out, right? And then now today we are moving into the 4 quadrants of vision. So what's great about this is we did the real work, or what we'll call the groundwork. And now we're getting more into the fun and the flair. So this one is a little bit about now putting your vision out there. You know where you want to be and where you want to go. You've applied some logic to it. Now we can play and launch it out there in a fun way. And then the secret sauce next week is one of my favorites of all for goal planning. It is the perfect kind of cherry on top of the sundae type of lesson. Okay, so here we are into the 4 quadrants of vision, and you'll probably have been taught these 100 times in your life, but the question is, are you applying it? So let's take a look. So 4 quadrants, start guessing in the chat. I want to see who can come up with some of the quadrants. And oh, Kate, great to see you. And so that we can kind of play and manifest what it is that we want to achieve. So this is kind of now moving from the physical world into kind of the launch part. Good to have you. All righty, who thinks so? Guess what one of the quadrants are. See if you can guess. What would an area of your life that you need to focus on to make a goal and to really, make sure that as you're moving through that process, you're keeping into account all things that are important. Plan is good. Yes, so we're visualizing for the future. That's good. So now there's 4 areas of your life we want to focus on so that we can start to ensure all the things that we're doing are going to remain balanced a bit. Yes, we have our personal goals. So these are actually, what you're doing here is almost a to-do list, right? This was back in the planning stages. So writing it down, setting a personal goal, building a list, setting your ideal scene. The ideal scene will come into this a little bit, because you're going to put your thing. Yes, there we go. Well done, Joyce. Joyce has faith, so that's among them. Family is among them. Yes, Judy, business is among them. And yes, Judy, health. Well done. We got them. We got them all. So let's take a look at the unfolding of this. So your 4 quadrants involve your family. Whatever that means, family, friends, just kind of staying connected to those people as you're moving forward with your vision, right? You don't want to neglect certain elements of your life that really need to be considered as you're unfolding, okay? So your family, of course, becomes a key element. The second is self-care. Under that, of course, is health, right? Health, wellness, really, really understanding that if you are not operating at optimum, you're sick, something's happening, whatever's going on, you're not taking care of yourself, you're overwhelmed, you're exhausted, the rest will be affected far more severely almost than any of these other quadrants. So it's very important. And it's also the biggest neglected one, because we tend to put our family first and put this first and put that first, and then we're last on the chain. And of course, what can happen is you start to feel the burden, get overwhelmed, whatever that is, and you start to not operate optimally. And of course, that means all the tasks that you're doing now in the other quadrants are going to take longer. They're going to feel harder. Everything starts to feel like you're walking through cement, in wet boots. And next is business. All right. Now, in our case, we've got our business. What do we want that to look like? How do we want that to be operating? And again, Nancy had said that with setting your ideal scene. All of these combine, start to put together, what do I want my life to look like, right? And then last but not least, call it what you want, your faith, your spirituality, your religion, your whatever it is. For you, it's that piece that's just bigger than self, right? It's more broader, it's global, it's almost legacy to the world. And it's what are you doing to really understand who you are, your mission, your vision, your purpose, what you are here to do. And what I love about kind of putting these 4 together, and again, this isn't, what I'm teaching here is no proven science. Everything I've taught in this entire goal setting has been what I've applied for 35 years. And it's just worked very well. So it took me a long time actually to get the 4 quadrants. And what's interesting about this is if I let one of these go out, how rapidly a decline started to occur. If my health was done, it was over for me, right? The rest completely collapsed. When I can always say when I put my family first, everything was really harmonious with the business and my ability to explore beyond self in the spiritual realm. And then what's interesting, as more of these started to become harmonious and in balance, what's beautiful is almost everything moved into the spiritual realm and all operated from there, which means now it's all operating from a bigger vision and a bigger place. And everything now is being put underneath all of that. And what's good is as a superior quadrant, it means that you're operating at the highest level of your true self. And so this became a journey that unfolded for me. And once I had locked into that, that's when I started to actually put a lot into the spirituality, and the rest seemed to fall into place far more easily as I moved and balanced my time between those quadrants. So that was an exciting unfolding for sure. Yes, exactly, Nancy. It's pretty funny, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So now how do you kind of take a look at this? One of the exercises, and it's up to you how you do this, okay? I'm going to show you kind of the old school way, but really you can perfectly do this in this, in like Keynote, in PowerPoint, however you want. Yeah, it is funny. And then and play. So here I'm going old school, right? So it's funny, as you put something in the physical universe, right? As this poster board would be, or as just generally laying it out would be. Did another version of it to help you identify the quadrants. So if we take a look at the division of the board, right? So if we take a look at the first quadrant over here, and we're kind of about family. And so I just started to grab pictures from magazines. Remember doing that as a kid, right? We would cut them out and we would put them on. I like this. I like doing it as a quadrant because it keeps you focused on balance, right? We don't just fill it up with one thing. We ensure that we're distributing our time and energy across different areas of our life. So here kind of was the family, and I just wanted, we wanted a great house and fun pool, and wanted, kind of love and harmony, etc. And the beautiful part is this is exactly what we created. Now this board is from, oh man, at least I'd say 9 years ago now. Okay. So what's fun is to look at it and kind of see where I am, right? So then we got over here, the self-care and the kind of taking care of yourself. If there is a weak link in and one I always have to focus on and remind myself of, and this is why this makes it good. It makes you confront the place that you're weak, right? So this is great for me because I am definitely weak on self-care. And so that's the one that I always have to remind myself, hey, you should go out and take a walk today, or hey, you know what, maybe you need more vitamins, your body's feeling a little run down, or maybe you need to go take a break and do a spa day. Maybe you need to go to the beach and just get some space, things of that nature. And so, get in better shape. That's definitely one for me still. So I have not achieved the ultimate goal board here. I'm still striving towards that one. And then of course, moving to the next quadrant, is the business one, right? So, I put like, plan of action and being trendsetter, revolutionary growth. And I can't remember what was on the fortune cookie, but I remember it was a great saying, right, about business and that. And then of course, big ideas that produce a lot of money. And so I just played with this, and then the dream is alive. And of course, this is exactly where I've been going for 35 years. And constantly growing. And of course, with us, this is where we can extrapolate anything we even imagined doing on our own. And this is why this one is so exciting right now, is because moving forward, we are now this global team of game changers for entrepreneurialism worldwide, right? That's the game we get to play now. The game I got to play is helping people in a smaller scale. I could help somebody with their website. I mean, we still do all of that. I still have my company, of course, but my focus. And so that this became a very important one too. Then last and certainly not least, regardless of your beliefs, it's important to have that element of kind of beyondness, beyond you as a body, more into the spiritual, more into the you as a ever being type of scenario, because when you're operating from not here but here, right? Not only does it give you the ability to have a broader perspective, because your vision is so much more expansive and you are free, it allows you to really encompass all perspectives, really see things in a bigger picture, and operate from heart, if you want to call that, right? Operate from a true area of love and compassion and desire for betterness for everybody, right? And that allows you to infuse all of these other areas with that sense of more, and a sense of obligation to serve the planet, and a sense of obligation and responsibility to conserve and preserve what is going on, right? So as we know, we could rapidly list off a good 10 things that are going on right now, which are devastating. And so, at some point while we're building all of this, we have to keep our eye on things that aren't right, right? And of course, one of the best ways we can do this right now is to help entrepreneurs, businesses, associations to get the power back that they need in order to survive where we are. We need people to be able to hit, which is just a couple of months away now, because that, I think, is going to be a tipping point of whether somebody survives or doesn't as a business. And so we want to give as many people as we can right now the ability to start that cycle of building and growth. And so that is what that looks like, how that dynamic works, okay? So here we are at these dynamics. So if you want, share a little bit about which is take a look at these 4 dynamics and share which of these 4 is your weak point. That way you have clearly identified for yourself. You're going, when you do your board, you're going to have to allocate just that little bit more time to your week. Self-care, 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 business, self-care. You have a few right now. Business, okay. So this is where then self-care, self-care. So what people have a tendency to do is, let's say your area of weakness right now is business, right? We actually then have a tendency to retreat to one of these 3 quadrants that we're really good at, right? And we use it as a substitute. We use it as an excuse as to why we can't be where we're supposed to be or where we need to add more, right? Self-care. Yeah, that's right. We're all taught, put that there. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say business is the weak point. And so what do? We retreat to physical fitness. Oh, I get up every morning and I do my 30 push-ups and I do my 5-kilometer run. And then I get back and I have my super juice, and you spend the day on self-care, right? But you're high energy because you can deliver to your family, and you're getting their lunches packed, and you're doing all of these things, right? And so you're up here, and then by the time you come down to the business quadrant, you're tired, exhausted, and not motivated, right? So this is why when I talk about the spiritual infusion, this is why this one becomes so important, because it allows you to create the motivation, create the desire, create the momentum, create the energy that is needed to make the entire board function optimally. So that is one of the really cool elements to unfolding your ideal scene in your journey. Good. Yes. And it's a really good point, right? How many of you, let's take a look at the business quadrant, right? And for the last month, maybe 2 months, you have had no new signups, right? Isn't that interesting? So what did you do? You pushed that one aside, right? And you went into these other 3 quadrants, and you're having a great time with your family, and you're doing your spiritual stuff. Maybe you're having a little hike now and then and a little run, and this got dropped, right? But in order to optimally operate, all 4 need to be firing their engines, so to speak, because otherwise, as soon as the lack of attention on one of these emerges, which means it will emerge in a health issue, it will emerge in no money, it will emerge in a disconnected family, or it will emerge in you just feeling alone and isolated and, you know, got nobody on your side. There will be manifestations that will make it clear to you which of these quadrants is not optimal. Everybody can probably sit there, even if you didn't share what your, we'll call it, weak one is, your weakest area, right? Even if you didn't share, you know what it is, right? So when you're doing out your little plan, and I don't care if you write this on a piece of paper and do little drawings or put words, however you want to do this, right? So in my case, of course, I predominantly have a very strong family dynamic. I'm always fueling it, right, with love and attention, and that's what it needs to stay harmonious. We're always infusing our marriage and my spouse with love and attention. And so keep that in mind, right? We've been married, I don't know, 28 years now. And so you want to constantly do that so that it's as fresh and alive as the day you met. And in Dave and my case, it is that way. We're in love all the time, constantly moving forward, loving more, you know, it's just keeps growing and growing and growing and expanding. And it's a very interesting thing because it goes to the spiritual level there, right? In that there is no unending capacity for how much you can love, care, or give attention to something. And that comes, of course, from the bigger picture. And just what I love about that is because it is full of abundance and never ending, we can spread that energy into the entire world and help to create an element of calm, right? So that's the great part about just learning the abundance of love that you have to give. Now, here's the thing. It's not love from energy. We're not like, oh my God, I love, you know, grunt and grind your way through the activity. It's coming from the higher place. Then it's effortless. It takes you nothing to just, you know, look at somebody with granting of beingness and love and desire. And that's all you had to do was look at them, right? And they fill up as well, just from that moment. So again, especially for anybody who's been married a very long time, please remember 2 things when it comes to a spouse. First, look at them, right? Okay, we have a tendency sometimes, or at least this is what I've witnessed, is to not look in the eyes. How much can unfold just by staring at somebody, right? So when you're talking to them, don't be on your computer as you're chatting, right? Turn, look, and talk so that you see each other. And that just really helps to do it. And the other thing is touch. So, you know, as you're passing by, just touch the shoulder, touch, you know, anything. It's a slight form of acknowledgement that, you know what, I see you. I'm really busy right now, but I see you. Those two little things alone can change how people feel. And especially, you know, with people hanging out right now 24/7, there could be a lot of newness to that scenario. Dave and I have been together 24/7 now for 29 years because we've worked 24/7, right? Together as well. So all of this isn't new to us. And so there comes a way to start to learn things that simple things that you can do, right? You don't have to go and take full course on it. And then move through that. Yeah. Never go to bed without saying, I love you, right? Simple little things, right? Yeah, if there's a argument, especially, you know, try to resolve that before you get there. Okay, next, where are we? That's the self-care, right? It really means what happens is a person has a tendency, as they're giving out, you start to give out so much that your cup runs empty. And then you're like, it fills up a little bit and you give it out again. And it fills up a little bit and you give it out again. When, again, we are operating from a higher plane, a spiritual level, you get it so that you're filling other people from the spillover of your cup. Your cup is full, right? You're great. And now all of the spillover is how you are helping all of these other dynamics, or all of these other quadrants. And so it's so beautiful because when you're full and you're giving more to your family, there's a level of joy that is almost incomprehensible by just putting a word to it, right? It is a full, joyous feeling that runs through you. And otherwise, here's what happens when you know your cup is running empty. It's a chore, right? You're drudging. You're gotta do this. I've got to make dinner. I gotta put the lunch together. I've got to go and do the accounting. I've got to go and seek out prospects, you know, so that I can help somebody, right? And so it just becomes a slog. And it becomes exhausting and overwhelming, and it's because you're filling from an empty cup. That's where you know you had better enter into some self-care. And I would also mention eking into whatever your spiritual practices are, eking into that as well. Going back, taking 5 minutes to do what you do from a spiritual nature and do what you need to do to assist the body, because they're two different cycles, but they complement each other, very tightly. And so that's the other thing you want to do. And I'm going to just give one piece of advice. If the only thing you do when you're tired and exhausted is to go and take a walk, just go outside and look at the sky, look at trees, look at anything that you can. If you're tired, exhausted, and overwhelmed, do not still sit at your computer. Do not still sit and do what you're doing. Get up. It will only take 7 minutes, 3.5 minutes, 3.5 minutes to walk to something. It doesn't matter, right? And kind of, if you can, do it until you feel good, until you look at the sky and go, God, is that ever blue? Or look at the beauty of that tree. Wow, I haven't seen a bird like that in a long time, right? You'll feel yourself filling again, and then you can go back to what you were doing. And that's whether you're leveraging it as a nature thing or you're just being outside getting space. There are rapid ways to remedy what is going on. Okay. Alrighty, next. Fresh air. Exactly. Fresh air is just wonderful. It's right. Go out on your balcony. You know, if you're in lockdown or whatever, go out and just breathe it in and look. And then, of course, your business quadrant, right? Then we go into taking care of business. Now, again, we've talked so much about business and things of that nature, and the planning of it, and then the doing the actions. And so it's going to come down to, in business, are you taking the daily actions required to move your business? And maybe you're bleeding a bit too, right? You're struggling with income, you're struggling with whatever, because you're in the entrepreneurial section of those that got displaced during this time, right? So the solution is to actually work harder on this one. Right? You're going to have times where you put more effort into one of these quadrants to get it in motion, right? Because things at a standstill it take a little more energy to get them, it goes, and now it might be rolling on its own a little bit. So put a little bit more effort here. I would say a lot of us, and so many of them are like, we have a 2-month run left, based on rent, wages, etc. And the government is not bailing them out, right? And so they're left in their own. No, it takes multiple steps, but you know why it takes multiple steps? It's not necessarily right now the know, like, and trust factor. It's coming down to patterns and habits of people. So, if you're drowning, and you're holding on to this little piece of driftwood, and somebody comes along with this lovely luxury yacht liner like we are, right? And so he's hanging on, and now all of a sudden the guy says, hey, would you like some help? And the guy's hanging on to the little piece of driftwood, and they're like, no, no, I'm not allowed to, or I have to clear it with, my board, or I have to do this, or, there's all these things that have to come in place before I can jump on your luxury liner, right? So people have to really understand more and get a little more urgent on the crisis that is at hand for their organization. And then last but not least is your spiritual. What do you want to accomplish as a spiritual being? Where do you want to take that? And you're really working at what it is that gives you the joy of your spiritual enlightenment. So again, you see how I put these pictures here, right? Just to help with the identification of the quadrants. When you're building your own vision board, you can do it in PowerPoint, and you can grab little shots for yourself. Okay. Little pictures from the internet type of thing, and use them for yourself. You can never share them. You can never do anything with them, or even better, source them. I get all my pictures from, I think it's called Story Blocks or something like that. Yes. Okay, good. Excellent. So, and here, why does this matter? Why does it even matter? One, it's a visual representation that you can operate from, right? Two, it's a visual reminder, because man, once you build this, right, put it on your wall, have it on as a screensaver, have a picture of it and a daily reminder to take a look and say, how am I doing in my quadrants today? Only takes a second to check in with yourself on how are you doing today, and what are you not confronting? What are you not dealing with, right? And if there's one that whoa, I'm feeling low today, then address it, right? And this will allow it to not become chronic and not become, you know, kind of um, problematic, right? We don't want to neglect until we have a health issue. And then you are out of the game for a week or two, right? So you want to catch it fast so that it doesn't grow. Alrighty. Now, this is another thing that I've been applying to decision making, right? How to make your decision making easy. And it's really just two questions. Will doing what I'm about to do contribute to my goal, my vision, or will it contaminate it? All right. And so an example is, I'm going to give you an example, one of my examples. So I had this opportunity for a 6-figure book deal. And I was like really ready to just jump on this and go for it, right? It was exciting, big publisher, you know, a whole book series. It was with the Dummy brand, you know, the Dummy series. And then, so then in order to make this decision, I wanted to jump on it immediately, but I said, wait, this is a biggie, right? This is a huge decision because yeah, I'm going to make 6 figures, but what will that cost me? Okay. And so I went to the contribute and contaminate model. Now, contribute. Okay. So contribute was, it's going to add prestige to my profile. It's going to get me exposure to a lot of people that, you know, are interested in me because of my connection to the book. It will more than likely go bestseller. They've been known to, yeah, to go, you know, bestseller. And then, what else was the contribute? Well, of course, money, great. A big chunk of money in the door, royalties, in the future. And, I think that was kind of it as the contribute, right? So I could see where it was going to go. But then I went over to the contaminate and I brought out my vision board. And so now it was, okay, so if I do this, this is a year, okay, to crank out a book of this magnitude, you know, from scratch is probably going to take a year. And it's not because it will take me a year to write it. For those of you who know anything about my history, the first book I wrote, 31 Days to Millionaire Marketing Miracles, 352 pages, from, oh man, what was it? God, I can't even remember. From start to launching it to #1. So that meant writing, copy, edit, book cover, design, layout, the works, was, crap, was it 60 days from start to finish? So I'd gone from book idea to writing a book to launching it to #1, and then to, yeah, launching it to #1, period. 60 days. So I know I could do a book fast, and I know I could get it out there. Here's why it was going to be a year. The second you deal with a publisher, whole different ballgame. That was my self-published book. Then I'd already taken 31 Days to Millionaire Marketing Miracles. Once it had stayed on the top 3% of Amazon for 3 years, Wiley Publishing came to me and said, we want to buy the rights to the book and we want to republish it under our brand. So my dream scenario had occurred. I got my New York literary agent, the whole works. I got everything I wanted. The book, and the book was written. That's the funny part, right? It took a year before that book hit the market, even though it was already written. And so I knew that this was going to be a 1-year cycle between back and forth with the publishers, back and forth with editing and review. It was just, I'd already been through the scenario, so I knew what to expect. Okay, so what does that mean? That means a year really out of me focusing on the money part of the company. It pulls you out of balance in a quadrant, in all the quadrants, right? And yeah, it pulls you out of balance in all the quadrants. And so it became a question, an evaluation. Okay, we've got money here, right? But we were used to quite a lot of money, right? 6 figures is great, but I could make 6 figures in 3 days when I do my live events. So then it became which one, right? So I then had to start doing an analysis. The other thing I looked at is, do I want to be part of the dummy brand? Right? That was another thing. I was actually going for high level. I was, my packages are 20 grand and up. And so I was like, who buys the dummy brand, right? And would they then be a buyer of my services, right? They could have been a lead gen tool. I could have brought them up through that way. There's a lot of things, but at the time, once I'd gone through the contaminate, I realized that it didn't make sense to do the book. I would be tied up with publishers, and all my attention would be on that and not on the growth of the company, the expansion of our products, etc. So that's what occurred. So I said no to the book deal. But so this is a nice way that if you have kind of a biggish decision, what do we do? Take a look at contribute and contaminate, right? So when you're in a quandary, obviously, if your gut, is saying do something, I don't listen to this at all, right? When my gut said, when I lived in Toronto, I need to move to California and I need to do it now, there was no contribute and contaminate going on. There was selling the house. So there are times when I have what I call absolute certainty that this is the right thing to do. Whenever I'm at a hesitation point where I'm like, damn, it seems like the right thing to do. As soon as I hit this, I don't know moment, this comes out, okay? So step 1, you stick with your gut. If you know and you have certainty, run with that. Don't ever question your own certainty. Second, if you are in a confusion, break it down. Okay, now prioritizing opportunities. We only have so much time in our day, right? So as you know what you want to do, you've got your vision board, ready, done. Now you've got to take a look at the big picture too. The first is when you're taking a look at what actions you're going to be doing, how will it make me money, right? Obviously, we're in the business quadrant now. This is where we're going to focus on. And the reason we're going to focus here, or I'm going to bring up these questions, really goes almost back to the cash calendar and how you are using your time, right? Spending hours and hours and hours doing something that feels like you're doing something. Let's say you spent an hour and a half doing a blog post. I know many people that do this, right? An hour and a half doing a blog post. Is a blog post going to make you money? No. Is it going to get you traffic? Probably not. Not unless you're in a search engine optimization keyword god. It's not going to get you money. So you have to be careful about where you're spending your time. And if you don't know whether it's making you money, start tracking. Oh, I did this. Make a journal. You know how they get dieters to make a food journal? Make a time journal, right? You sit down and you say, okay, it's whatever, blah, blah, blah. And here it is. And now it's this time. And during that time, I did this, right? And then did it lead to money? Is it a cash calendar item? Things of that nature. And then the next question, when will it make me money, right? And so here is that book decision, right? So the book decision actually made me money in the beginning for the second book. But when I was writing my first book, I had to ask, when will it make me money, right? And the answer was later, right? If ever, quite frankly. Most books do not recover, do not make their money back. And that's unfortunately just a harsh reality of publishing your book. You better be publishing your book for you in a way, right? For your own desire and necessity. so that if you know, if what happens at the other end doesn't happen, you know, you don't feel like it was a waste of time. It is a legacy piece. So you want to take a look at the when, because if you need money today, right? If you need money today, should you be doing activities that are going to produce money in 3 months? The answer is no, right? We need to shift your mind, and you need to say, what can I make money today? Okay. And I don't care if you sell something from the attic, right? If you need money, you find a way to make the money today. And then you take a look at the longer term money. That's how, you know, that's how it starts to unfold, right? What will it cost me to make the money? And that's where time very much comes into play. Okay, so if you have to be here doing something, what is that costing you when, if you were over here doing it, right? People with a job and want to be entrepreneurs often, you know, live with that quandary on what will it cost to make the money, and things of that nature. Here's the biggie: will I enjoy it? And that's very rare, right? And so it's an enjoyable thing because it's constantly a help cycle. And if there's something the world needs right now, it's help, and more help, right? And so really take a look at this, because if you're constantly doing something you don't enjoy, or if it's an activity that, you know, is really important and you're not enjoying it, find out why. What's the piece you hate, right? And take a look, start to unfold. Honestly, the only reason you won't like it is usually a lack of knowledge and know-how. That's all. Once you have those two things, you get comfortable doing it and you realize the importance of it, okay? And then, will it help me reach my ultimate goal, right? So we had our quadrants there, and they were, you know, together, they made a story. And then on the board, you want to have pieces of ultimate goal, right? What would you ultimately like your family life to be like? What would you ultimately like to be health-wise? What would you ultimately like your business life to look like? And what would you ultimately like your spiritual, you know, cycle to look like? Where would you like to be spiritually? And so those, you can actually do I like to do the vision board, and then I like to do a paragraph for each of those 4 things. And that I'll write out. I'll say, okay, I want my business to bring in income, whether I'm working it or not. I only need to work like 1 or 2 days a week, if that, just on growth, not on maintenance. Travel the world, be anywhere and work from anywhere. I want to have so much income from this that I'm able to donate to anything that I want. I have already 4 things that I want to donate to in a big way, right? So I've already even picked the 4 places I want to donate. And so you're building that verbal statement along with your visual. Now, when you have this kind of 2 pieces of, this is the look and this is what I want, when you verbally write it all out, you hit all your senses. You've hit your different, all those learning kinetic type of people, visual type of people. You've hit all of the quadrants when you do that, right? And then so you'll repeat it for each of those elements. And then in PowerPoint, right? Let's say you've built this in PowerPoint, and then you can actually have what do you call it? Music. You can add music to it, right? And so that's a very fun cycle. I created a song and put it together with a PowerPoint presentation, and I run that at all my events. And so that's the thing that's running and filling people with the visual, the audio, and the words. All of them are going at the same time. And it's kind of embedding a positive feel for, and it's allowing you to dream, and it's allowing you to think bigger and be bigger and add more, because you're creating space during those moments. And so you could literally create a little thing, and it doesn't even have to be like one slide like I showed you there. You can unfold it across multiple slides with some music, and it's just a nice activity. And then slide in the statement, and slide in the statement, and slide in the statement, and slide in the statement, embed with a music loop if you want. And you've got the real deal. You have hit all of it. The presentation you use at your events, you hit the audio when you repeat your paragraphs aloud. I see. Yeah, actually, you could do that too. You could add your own voice. You could literally say it, right? But I will. Okay, so here's the next thing. Our next lesson is the secret sauce. Okay, the secret sauce is a blast. I want you to do this. I want you to do this one, and then you're going to see the secret sauce that adds on top of that. Okay. And then we will go into the secret sauce, and then that's going to be a wrap for setting and getting your goals. 4 quadrants of vision. Okay. Now see, this is where you're going to write down the statement. So first create your visual, right? And then start to write it down. Or you can do the other way if you like to write and then you want to put pieces on a page that go with that. But here's what I like. Here's why I usually reverse it. I find that when you just select images, it's more freeing. Okay, so you're like, oh, I love that, and I love that. I don't know why I love that, but I want that. And you're creating, right? A lot of times you go into a little more think mode when you're writing. So I want you to be as free as you can be as you're putting this all in place. All right, so the journey we have taken through these episodes has been the 3 steps to success planning, which was our ability to actually set the plan in place, connect numbers to that. How much do you want to make based on the end goal that you have, and then how to actually set the various levels of your goals so that you have your minimum, your real, and your, of course, game changer, so that you can always reach your goals. And then the actions and necessary steps to accomplish that task. Then we moved into the next episode, which was really about how do you stay profitable? How do you continue to apply the actions necessary to accomplish the goals that you have laid out? Then the biggest and one of the most important is that episode on the forgotten focus. It's key because we really need to recall the importance of the cash calendar and knowing all about that. And so it's important to really stay focused on not just busy work, but busy work or work that moves you towards the goal that is, of course, involving how much cash are you going to be taking a look at. The next episode dealt with what we call the powerful 3 M's. And that's really all about your message, your market, and of course the media. It's important to apply these 3 steps. And I went through 12 various elements that are key to the building blocks of that. They really come down to 4 major pillars within those 12 elements. And of course, then that really encapsulates further into the what is involved with the messaging element, ensuring that what you see online is key and consistent. And then the next element, which was the marketing, is how are you getting your message out there? And then moving, of course, into the last steps of media. What are you going to use as a distribution network? Then we, just as you recall, completed the 4 quadrants of vision, where now you're going to lay out the steps and really take a look at what do you want that balanced lifestyle to look like. When it comes to the elements of your business, the elements of your self-care, the elements of kind of your spiritual, and then the elements connected to what does your family lifestyle look like. And then next week, as I said, our next episode, we're going to be covering the secret sauce. This is so key because it is the fun zone of this entire planning. But it's the cherry on top that really makes the setting and getting of your goals a priority, because you know what you're going for in a bigger way. Not just maybe from a financial perspective, which of course is key, but you want some fun elements added to it. That's the secret sauce. That's the fun part. And then now I'm just going to really talk about how can you put all of this together in a really key way and continue to have my guidance as part of your journey. And so I'm just going to step you through a few minutes of a program that I have that I would love for you to check out. I have an amazing program called Message to Millions Mastermind. And again, I talk a lot about the importance of Mastermind. So does the book, The E-Myth. And I really wanted to just touch on the elements that it contains. It's literally the PhD of business marketing. You saw in the unfolding of the kind of the importance of your message and things of that nature. And you'll notice there were 12 spokes in that example of the 3 M's. And that is because they are covered here in creating the message, being brand you, online strategies, social media mastery, book and product launch, speaker and speaking, your $1 million design, selling made simple, getting on TV, outsourcing your own live event, and traffic and PR. And I put together this entire system so that you could continually build your business, plug any holes or gaps that you had in your marketing strategy, and repeat these modules as you needed to, because there is so much in speaker and speaking, and there's so much in your $1 million design that, going through them once just isn't enough, because you'll be in a different place 3 months from now. And so it contains the 4 main goals of the structure of a business, and that is to get seen, that is to be heard, that is to make more, and ultimately reach millions with your message. For those of you who know my history, I have been able to do that by TV appearances, speaking in 39 countries, and really mastering internet marketing and social media, and of course sales, selling, and then the distribution of what it is that I do and teach through your $1 million design, which is multiple ways to get out that same message. And so if you want to go and check it out, messagetomillionsmastermind.com/special offer. I'll give you a hint right now that you can get a great deal as a member of this community. You're going to get lifetime access to all the courses. You're going to get a day with me in a virtual event. You're going to get extra modules such as success rituals, social speaker hacks, the brand assessment and marketing audit, and 7-figure big
business blueprint for those of you who are further along the private community. And if you choose the Mastermind, there's 2 programs here. You'll also get 1 year of coaching with me and 9 months of weekly open office hours. So every single week you will be meeting with someone to move you forward so that by the time you get back to me, you are ready to go. messagetomillionsmastermind.com/special offer.
So again, continue to stay connected with me. For those of you who are in my Facebook group already, you'll know that I share, all sorts of new things, training videos. As soon as somebody says they need something, I'll create something.